The cool thing about this business is you don't really have to know much to protect families and write policies, right? You literally just need a script.
Hello, everybody. Grady Paulson of the American Agency Beyond. Excited to have Justin Au on with us today, joining us live from Tennessee. Recently, it's not immigrated, it's migrated, transported, moved. We'll just use a regular word. He just recently moved, give his family a better life, father of 3, and selling at an incredibly high level. Oh, you got excuses? You got problems? You got stress? Dude, talk about father of 3. How old are your kids right now?
The oldest is 6 and the youngest is about 7 months. So
yeah, buckle up, all you young ones out there that are like, oh, I don't know how you juggle your life and responsibilities. Yeah, wait till you got 3 kids and you got to sell 60 hours a week. Come on. So Justin is juggling family. He's juggling his business. He's growing a team, selling at an incredibly high level, and getting better himself. And so I've seen his name on the leaderboard for a while now. Caitlin and I have been chatting a lot, and she's like, you got to get Justin on. He's just fantastic. And I'm like, I don't know why he hasn't been on yet. Like, it's at my back, but we're going to make it happen today. You are in for a treat, everybody. And without further ado, how you doing today, Justin?
Doing good, man. Just trying to load up my calendar and get some sales after this too. So
I love it, man. I love it. Well, good. Well, give us I'd love to hear the story, right? I know you've got a unique background. You carry some designations, which are always fun, but that's a previous career you had. Then you found insurance, and there are a lot of people out there that are professionals that are looking at insurance. A lot of people that are trying to get their life in order and trying to decide what to do. And someone like yourself with the background you have to make that leap of faith into this world and then succeed at just high level gives a lot of people permission, right? And so I'd love if you just kind of take us back, tell us your story, how'd you get here, and let's go from there.
So when I was going through college, I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. So I kind of just chose business and then went into accounting. So I did that for about 6-7 years. I learned a lot, but I was miserable there. So like, I just knew there was something more. I was doing people's taxes. I would see entrepreneurs making way more than I was. And I was just miserable. And so I knew something was better out there. And, I got to the point where I was watching Bigger Pockets every day, reading underwriting books for commercial property, all this crazy stuff for real estate, became obsessed, desperate to find something. And it's pretty cool, actually. So I'm kind of an old fart. I have 3 kids. At the time I had 1 kid. And, I never go out to the bar or anything like that. But for my birthday, my in-laws, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law kind of forced me out, right? And so while we're there, I'm playing cornhole and I see this guy like waiting to play with us. And his name's Jacob Center. I don't know if you've met him before. And he starts playing with us. I'm like, hey, what do you do, man? And he's like, yeah, I sell solar. I was like, really? And I was really curious what those guys made. So I was like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, like, what'd you bring in last month? And he told me, and I was like, no freaking way. I was like, can I try that? Can I
What did he tell you? What was the number?
30, 40K. And I was like, really? I was like, I thought you guys were like paid hourly. You're on your little segways and like knocking doors. You made that much? And so I was like, can I do that? And he was like, sure. So he came up and trained me every weekend. I was knocking part-time and then finally just fully quit my accounting job. And I'll never forget the day when I was leaving that accounting job for the last day, and your mindset of money just kind of changes. Like, it looked like money was everywhere because obviously we look at roofs and, you could put solar there. So I'm like, man, money is everywhere. It's literally you just have to go and get it. And then, so from there, I did pretty well in solar. And then we ended up, luckily, Caitlin Blackburn reached out to Center, and we ended up getting into life insurance, and the rest is history. So definitely glad I made that move, because with accounting and solar, the time with the family was just non-existent. Whereas with this, I get way more time with them, way better off financially. And it was the best move ever.
Give us some timelines. When did you get into solar? When did you transition to insurance? How did the beginning of insurance go?
Yeah. So solar, I did that for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And then there's some laws that were changing in California when I was back there at the time. And so we're kind of like keeping our options open. And then when Caitlin reached out, we're like, yeah, we're fully in, we're doing that. And so I've been
Hold on. What did she say? I mean, she's great recruiter, and she was rookie of the year, and then she was like rookie of the year again somehow, but she's like the #1 female producer 2 years back to back. She's all incredible, and Jacob's pretty awesome too. But what did she say? Like, give us the Caitlin Blackburn recruiting script.
She's literally amazing at what she does. It was like a 4-minute call, and I called her. She was like, "Oh shoot, yeah, I have some time." She was like giving her daughter a bath, and she broke away for like 2 minutes, and then just talked to me for like 2-3 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in." So to be honest, I don't remember exactly what she said. I was putting a lot of like just going with Jacob, but she definitely convinced me in 4 minutes, which shows how much of a beast she is. But
and her daughter's still alive, which is good. She walked away from her from the
yes, bath. I think that's what happened. So yeah, yes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Some people that joke, people without parents will be like, that was a weird joke. But
yeah.
Okay, so you talk to Caitlin, you and Jacob come over, and then what go from there? So what year is that? And then you hit first month, you wrote 87, or was it hard for you in the beginning?
Yeah, I was horrible. Our first lock-in, I remember her trying to have us read a script because I hadn't even really touched a script for like, I got it a couple of days before the lock-in, went there, and it was kind of embarrassing. It was embarrassing reading the script. I was fumbling. I could barely read it. But man, I was determined because when I first left accounting, I can't tell you how many people told me I was an idiot for doing that. I went to school for 5 years. Yeah. It was a consistent, stable job. And so people were always in my ear telling me like how bad of a decision that was. And that drove me. So like in solar, like if anybody was give me any kind of negative energy, I just cut them out. And then same thing with insurance. So like I knew because I was the sole income provider that I had to do whatever it took. So when I first started, I was horrible. And the cool thing about this business is you don't really have to know much to protect families and write policies, right? You literally just need a script. Now to get to the other level, you need to add different things. But man, I worked 12, 14-hour days. And, when I wasn't dialing the phones, constantly just listening to podcasts. I go to the gym, listen to podcasts, play it while I was taking a shower, practice my script. Every waking moment, I was developing myself and practicing, and then working till like 10, 11 o'clock at night, calling Hawaii leads, which was like 3-4 hours back. So it was a struggle in the very beginning, but I knew that's what it was because it was a new position. And I just knew I had to learn it as I went incrementally.
It's awesome. I mean, that's the thing most people miss. They don't put in the extra time. They're not listening to extra calls. They're not writing out their script because pen to paper actually teaches your brain to take memories. Because when you just type, your brain doesn't know what you're doing. It just thinks your fingers are moving. But when you write out SUCCESS, you're actually writing out with pen to paper the words that your brain is attributing that. So powerful. Now, give us the first 3-6 months. Like what happened? Did you break? When it was your breakthrough moment? Like, when did you have that turning point that really was like, I can do this?
Yeah. So my first month, I was still like partially doing solar. I think I issue paid like 11, 12K. Second month, I ended up having to take a vacation, had to take a vacation, but I took a vacation and I was off for about like 9 days and I did about 13K. And then the third month I did 40K, 50K, 70K. And then from there, it's been average like 50K on average, plus or minus. Right. And so just a lot of development. I took some sales training for solar, which really improved my solar. And then I did that for the insurance side too. And I think the biggest thing that started progressing me forward in insurance was when I started running trainings. Because once you start having to teach other people, you really start breaking down your own process and why you're saying certain things. And so I think that was a big breaking point, is when Kate had me go on a couple of trainings and teach other people.
Awesome. I want to get to that. That's a heavy part. I really want everyone to hear that, but let me get some more specifics. So now averaging 50K, let's talk about lead spend, right? People hear these incredible numbers. They, what we submit, generally about 80% will stick. And what sticks, industry average is 70% should stay on the books. Now, granted, if you get better at producing, you've got systems and software, your persistency can go way up. I mean, I got producers that are 90, 95, 96, 100%, some of them with a few big carriers. And then at the same standpoint, you've got taxes, lead costs. I mean, these numbers are huge, right? Let's be crystal clear. But there's expenses to business, right? You open a restaurant doing $1 million in gross revenue. That's only $80,000 a month. Now you've got employees, staff, leasing, et cetera. I mean, you as a CPA know all these expenses. So we want to tell you there's big numbers here, but you also got to manage your money. So from a money management professional, let's talk about kind of business expenses, leads. What are you netting now?
Yeah, so I'm bringing about 20, 30K a month net with the front end and then lead costs. I spend about 2,000 a week on leads. Sometimes I'm trying out new lead sources, so maybe 2,500. But in my mind, it's like when I first started, right? If you buy $500 worth of leads and you're consistently making 3, 4K and trying to squeeze everything you can out of that smaller batch, why not just buy another 500? Now you're in for 1,000, but your cash flow, you have an extra 3,000, 4,000 in your pocket. So my mindset was more of return on investment and then utilizing your time best, right? Because if you're squeezing everything you can and then you're waiting until that same $500 gets you 10,000 before you start reinvesting, it's just going to be a vicious cycle of just constantly waiting rather than just taking a chance on yourself, buying more leads, getting more opportunities at bat, and just significantly increasing your cash flow, and it just snowballs from there.
Awesome. No, it's fantastic. So, all right, let's jump into the NEPQ. Let's jump into the sales nitty gritty, because that's really where I think that people can walk away from this call today and really take some stuff that maybe they're not doing that they can't. So that's really always my goal. So I'd love if you jump into your script or process, what you set up. Is it text, emails? You send in carrier pigeons. You buying billboards around certain cities where it says hire Justin as the licensed broker, and now it's just like, I've heard this guy's name before. I mean, I'm being silly here, but what do you do to sell at such a high level?
So, and I think for new agents, you should look at it as kind of layering in your skills, right? So like when you first come in, you should have that script memorized within a week, right? That's the very bare minimum step. You can still sell people with that. So like, those ratios where it's out of 10 people, 2 people are laydowns, they're going to buy no matter what. There's those people in the middle that you have to give a little bit extra push. And then there's those few people at the back end that are never going to buy. Right. And so when you're starting out, if you just have that script, you're going to get those bottom 2 people every time. And that's why it's the law of big numbers, right? Like you want to get to those people as quick as you can and calling those people as many times as you can. But once you have that script memorized, a big thing for new agents is how they're saying the script, right? Like your tone, your pace, your cadence. So you don't want to come off too happy. You don't want to sound too dull. You want to slow your pace because you're more in control. And then you want to fluctuate your cadence, right? Because that's how humans talk. They're not just monotone the whole time. And then you can work on your transitions, right? So like a lot of new agents will come in and it sounds very like checklisty rather than like a fluid conversation. So for example, like, hey, like, what do you have in place now for life insurance? Okay, gotcha. And then who's responsible for paying for your funeral? Okay. Versus transitioning and saying, hey, like, if you pass away tomorrow, what all do you have in place now to cover the burial? Oh, okay. And who would be the one responsible for actually having to sit down, plan and pay for the funeral when that happens? Right? Because the more conversational you can be, they're not just another number, right? You're consulting them, you're concerned with them. So first step, memorize script, work on how you're saying things. And if you can work on your mindset of genuinely being curious of why they need this, how it's going to help them, rather than just focusing on, hey, I'm going to get through the script and hope I get a commission, that will significantly help. So that's stage 2. Stage 3, I would say, is understanding now, breaking your script down into sections, because you have everything memorized, the word tracks, but can you go from point A to Z in your head in different bullet points, right? And so that's step 3. Step 4, I would say, is to know the outcome of what you're saying. like the reason why you're saying things, because everything in our sales presentation should have a reason behind it to push the sale down forward. So if you know the outcome of each stage, what you're looking for, now you're going to have more awareness of where the client's at. You can read the situation better and tailor it to them. And then the very last step is that's where you can start, including all those fancy reframes, fancy word tracks that, and like flow charts in your head of, hey, if they say X, I'm going to say this. If they say Y, I'm going to say this. Right. So that's like the progression. And as you progress with each stage, you're going to start closing more and more of those people that are in the middle, and then slowly towards maybe those people that would never typically buy, but you convince them. Right. So I think, and Alex Hermosi, this is a complete paraphrase, but something that he said really stuck with me was, a lot of us are looking for that, the biggest result from one source, right? Like we just want that one fix all thing, rather than just, hey, taking a step forward and incrementally learning each day. Because like I'll read a sales book and maybe get one thing out of that could increase my close rate by like 5-10%. Out of that whole book, just one thing helped, right? So just incrementally learning each day.